Hello everyone. So welcome back to Mirror's Edge. It's been a little while since I did a video on this game, but as always I'm continuing to keep the game alive, still alive, and today we're checking out something completely different. Last time I booted this game up, I was checking out mods, and I did a really good video on that. A lot of people seem to enjoy it, and it sort of gave life into a new way to experience the game. Well, this is another video like that, but it's a little bit more on the exclusive side. Now, I remember seeing, whether it was a year back, it was a little bit ago, Nvidia was holding a press conference, and I think they were doing this when they were revealing their 2000 series card, the RTX line, right? And they were talking about this algorithm that they put on that basically can change, you can add filters to the game to change the way that it looks, right? And so I was like, oh, that's cool, it's an interesting tool set, but I didn't really think much of it. Well, upon going back into this game, I realized that they actually added that to this game, and I don't know if it's for every single game, or if it's like only for supported ones, but there was like no mention of this, and I didn't see any of, the Mirror's Edge fans at all talk about this, and I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a PSA video letting you guys know that for those of you who have an Nvidia graphics card, and you probably, I don't know if there's limitations required to what card that you need. I have a 980 Ti, I have two of them, right, but this game doesn't scale well with SLI, and I'm able to access these features. Now, these do impact performance, and what we're going to basically be doing, and I haven't messed around with this as thoroughly as I'd like. I basically just recently discovered this and tested it out in the game briefly yesterday for like 20 minutes, but didn't really go into too much detail. So what I did is I thought about today, when I wanted to do this video, I thought about, okay, what art styles would I like to put into Mirror's Edge? Because Mirror's Edge is a very artistic driven game, yeah, but in terms of its detail level, it attempts to be as hyper realistic as possible. I would say the original Mirror's Edge was even more so than Catalyst. Catalyst went for a more, angular art direction, driven style. But I wrote down some things I wanted to do. So I wanted to see if I can make the game cel-shaded, make a filmic version that's like hyper realistic, kind of get rid of the TAA blurriness, add some sharpness to the game, see if we can get it to look really detailed, see if we can add like a pencil drawn filter, and lastly see if we can make it look like a painting. Anyway, so I'm doing something pretty cool here. I'm actually going to be rendering and recording this video in 4K 60 frames per second because I want you guys to get the very best detail possible, and actually see some of the changes that we're doing, because some of them are kind of minor. But I am playing with a lower resolution scaling, so I just want to show you guys up front, even though the text and everything right here is actually native 4K, I'm playing with a 50% resolution scale. Why? Well, because these effects have a great amount of performance impact, some of them at least, and I've noticed that my frame rate would tank at certain points to basically well below 30 frames per second, right? And because I want you guys to actually see what's going on, and not have this really horrible frame rate when we're actually doing these tests, I basically turned down the resolution scale to 50%. Normally I play at 70, well, not that high, at 70% resolution scale, because I have a 980 Ti, and the game runs perfectly smooth then, but I went all the way down to 50% because the frame rate can take a big dip at times. So hopefully this is fine. Even though the game's going to look slightly blurry, we're hopefully going to be able to change that, and hopefully it'll look really sharp. So I wrote down 5 different techniques I wanted to use and actually look for this game, and this is a live thing, right? We're going to check this out, and I haven't really had time to delve in here and really see what this thing can do. I only played around with it for 20 minutes yesterday and was like, oh, I should totally do a video on this, because again, I saw like virtually no one talking about it, especially like Mirror's Edge fans, I followed a few people, and there's not really a lot of, activity around the game. So I thought, okay, make a PSA video. Let's talk about the new Nvidia game effects being added. It's pretty exciting. It can change up the art direction, and we can really see what we do. So I thought over the course of today, the different 5 art styles that I would basically like to try with this game, and see if we can actually accomplish. So I put down cel-shaded, a filmic, like hyper-realistic mode, to basically add sharpness and detail to see if we can combat the TAA blurriness that's always on in this game. See if we can do like a pencil drawn filter, and then lastly make it look like a painting. So these are the 5 things we're going to attempt to do, alright? Now, I think we should start off with the simplest one, which is basically just add sharpness, right? So the game has an always on TAA, which you can't even disable in the settings. It's actually tied to post-processing quality, right? The problem with you know, this is that it's always on no matter what. I think even at like the lowest settings, it's continuously on. Let's actually see. Yeah, like this is still on. I can still tell, right? And I think the only way to get rid of it, at least on PC, is to go into an INI file and actually, you know, edit it out in the text files there. But you know, it's once you do that, you actually realize why they have it always on, and it's because the art direction just jags everywhere. There's so many sharp angles, you know, so it makes sense. But I want to see one of the big issues that people have with TAA is that it blurs the image. You know, that's how it kind of gets rid of the jaggies. It adds a post-processing filter and it blurs the image. So we're gonna see if we can actually get rid of that. All right. Now we're looking at that game. And I checked it out. Like already I can see it's almost like the game has this little film grain filter on, which is very interesting. But I'm noticing like little details that stick out. There's definitely some sharpening that's going on with the cables I see. It looks pretty good. It's definitely a way to combat the TAA sharp. Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially right here, you can see in the distance with this, you know, this whatever you want to call this, this little roof right here. All the way in the distance, those look really, really sharp. It doesn't look blurry like it used to. Oh, even the details on her hands. Hold on. So if I go back to a wall, and I can already see my performances even taking at 1080p. So yeah, you look at the details on her arms. I'm just noticing pores a lot more on her skin. Yeah. Especially gates, you know. This is pretty cool because previously, and I would even say, you know, this is teetering on like a Filmic look. It just looks like, yeah, it looks over sharpened, but you have all these details preserved in the game, which is pretty cool. You know, you're noticing things, and these shadows look amazing. They look really, really good. Yeah, look at the wall right here. So, for those of you who are watching this in 4K on a 4K TV or a 4K monitor, you should be able to pick up these details pretty obviously. I don't know what YouTube's going to do with compression. That's always like a hit or miss thing, but I'll try to render this out in the highest quality that I can. And obviously, you know, my texture detail, because, again, this is a 980 Ti. I have 6 gigs of VRAM, so I'm actually VRAM limited when it comes to this game, which is why I have to play with high textures. Because otherwise, you know, it will push it over the 60 gigabyte threshold, even at like resolutions of 1440p. But yeah, like the textures at a distance look fantastic. This looks really, really good. That whole wall, you know, and everything. Just the details are well preserved here. Let's actually continue to move. I think that those of you who are really bothered by the TAA sharpness, or sorry, TAA blurriness, will actually find that having a filter like this applied will make the game much more, just pop a lot better. Make it clearer. You'll notice the details a lot better. This is actually pretty cool. And I think this is a very good way of combating the blurriness that comes with anti-aliasing. You know, every game these days pretty much has temporal anti-aliasing, and it's pretty much the standard when it comes to the industry now, because it's low cost and it actually looks pretty decent, and it works for lower resolutions especially, you know? But yeah, I mean, this looks pretty good. It's not too distracting at all. You could actually easily get used to this in my eyes. My eyes aren't bothered by the fact that the game looks this way. So I would say this is definitely a good alternative. Yeah, look at all these. Yeah, the ground right there, the ground textures really stick out. All the details are just nice. The only thing I will notice is that, like, distant details, you can see over there, like the construction, some of that stuff is kind of flickering, right? But mostly, like, everything, even like the pole down there is very clean. This wire right here, very clean and well defined. There's no, like, you know, halo effects like around objects that you normally get with too much sharpness. This is actually pretty damn good. Yeah. Pretty awesome. So I would say job well done. If you guys actually wanted to test it out yourself, let me go back to the settings here so you guys can see. So that's vignette, details, and then the sharpen. These are all the settings that we're using. Now if I do ignore film grain, I wonder. See, yeah, this adds in blurriness. So I would probably go no higher than maybe like, it's hard to say, maybe like in the 30s, because this will actually help take care of like the construction site over there, those different like cranes. It actually helps blur those out, but it kind of preserves the details that are closer to the camera. So that actually might be preferable depending. But if we're just talking about sharpness, yeah, this is actually working pretty well. So I would say pretty good on this. We did a good job getting rid of the TAA blurriness. Pretty cool. Alright, so let's try something a little bit more drastic. Alright, let's try to do cel-shaded. You know, Borderlands 3 just came out. Let's try to make the game look like Borderlands. This is Mirror's Edge Cel-shaded. How does Faith look? Wow, look at her skin. If I do this, look at her hands as she pushes up here. The details are still there, but it's different. It has like that little, you know, drawn feel. Let's continue in the world. This looks nuts. Yeah, this looks nuts. Man, there's something about it. I don't know if it's... Yeah, even here. I feel like it's still missing something. I'm not entirely happy And I think it has something to do with the ground. So let's go back into our filters here and see what we can do. What happens if we get rid of details? That creates a... okay. And we get rid of sharpness. Sharpness should be on in this case. Our toning... our bloom... yeah. There's something with the way... that gets rid of the art direction entirely. I'm still not seeing anything with that. There's something here that we're missing, guys. I don't know what it is yet. What do we have here in our stuff? A night mode, stickers, tilt shift, and watercolor. I almost feel... okay, maybe we can mess with the watercolor a bit. Oh god. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Don't know what that's doing. There's a texture on this that I want to get rid of. Okay, here we go. A little bit better. This is changing the colors. Saturation. Contrast. There is a, I don't know what it is. There's like some type of texture on top of this. Ooh. Okay, if we turn gamma up, I'm liking to look at that a bit more. Contrast. Okay, so let's look at this now and see. Oh wow. Now we destroyed the shadow detail. We completely destroyed it. Alright. It is gamma that's affecting that. I think this might be as good as we're gonna get. Yeah, just what we had here before. I mean, it still looks really good, right? It's relatively close to what you would call a cel-shaded look. It's just, I feel like there's slightly a little bit more detail than I'd like, you know? But everything's like has a well-defined edge to it. And it's a weird way to play the game, actually. It's really interesting. Hey, let's get some combat in here. Yeah, very interesting. Now I have to freaking, where's the nearest safe house? It's over here. Yeah, I definitely like it. Like I said, there's some details here that I think are a little bit more defined than they should be. But it looks good. And actually, I think it might benefit. There's reflections here. And in a way, I think the reflections are messing with the art direction. Get to a freaking safe house so these guys aren't chasing me. How do characters look? Yeah, that's cool. Look at her outfit. Her outfit, you can really tell. That's really cool. Here's how characters look. You know, her outfit, you can really tell, right? But there's some really good detail. I like this, man. So yeah, if you look... okay, the reflections actually... no, they look fine. Then the reflections actually take on the property of the game, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of work that must have gone into it, so you gotta think about this, because, I mean, you're basically affecting the game engine. That's what this is. It's a direct affection of the game engine. And it's cool, you know. I would never, you know, want to play the whole game like this, but it's cool to go in here and just see what you're doing. Yeah, I like that. So let's take it. We take it off now. You know, and now we're back to like the normal game style. Back to our smooth frame rate. Pretty cool. All right, so that was cell shading. Let's see if we can go for more of a filmic look. Let's see if we can do filmic. All right, like a hyper-realistic filmic look. Okay, so let's pretend like we're watching, like this is a video, right? I would say this looks like a pretty... This looks like a really kind of B... a really low-budget TV show, right? Like, could you mistake this for real life? A bit, I would say. You know? I would definitely say a bit. This looks like if I do some camera jerkiness, you know. Oh, it's a GoPro. Oh. Oh. You know, perhaps. It's definitely... Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Check out the detail right here. I would say this looks pretty realistic. Because it's like that nice softness, you know? It's soft, but it's not like... It's not overly sharp. You got some nice contrast, a little film grain, little details, right? I am noticing you see some aliasing here on the railing, right? But for the most part, I would say this looks pretty good. I would say this would closely pass for like a real-life cinematic mode at least, especially with, you know, the 21:9 aspect ratio, the borders. The world, you know, looks grounded. You can tell the camera is kind of overexposing the light a little bit. But you still have, like, you know, still have some good detail. Actually, let's get to the top of that crane so we can really get a good look. Yeah, I would say we did a pretty good job here, huh? It looks pretty filmic, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah, especially the traffic down there. You know, it's kind of blurred out. It's kind of low detail, so it looks, you know, it doesn't look like a game. It looks like you just took a video or something. It's pretty cool, man. I actually really like this. Pretty awesome. So I would say yes, we accomplished that on the Filmic side. Now we have, let's do a painting, alright? Let's do an oil painting. So what do you say this for like an oil painting almost? I would say that could pass. You know, obviously it's in motion here, but if someone painted this, I would say that you'd be like, oh yeah, sure. You know, it'd take like a lot of man hours, right? And I like this little blur on the bottom and the top. That's interesting. Wow. This looks nuts. Oh, that's crazy. And by the way, my frame rate is 26 frames per second. And it looks like the animation is also matching the frame rate. So the game's actually technically moving slower. Yeah, this totally looks like you could have painted it, man. What do you guys think? More inky blacks like that? Yeah. It's weird. Maybe if it's not so a painting, it's a different art direction. I mean, yeah, I would say, yeah. We did a good job. Should have gone to other parts of, like, the world, you know? But I feel like downtown has the most detail of the rest of them. Like, if I did this over at, like, Anchor District, you know, that's a very reflective city. Or district, whatever you want to call it, right? It's different. Downtown has a lot more detail. So that's why I kind of chose this area of the game to do it in. Wow, that's a lot of popping. Yeah, I would say that we did a pretty good job. And look, even in the ad over there, you can see the ad. Well, when it was full color, you could see like the colors coming off of the ad, which kind of, again, adds to that painting effect. You know, that there's no like straight lines. There's only happy accidents. You know. But I would say this is pretty good. What do you guys think? All right. So our last one is to do the pencil drawing, pencil filter. So let's try and do this. Is this, you guys think this is more pencil sketched, sketch style? Let's go to done and mess around with it. Where again, we're still at like 30, yeah, 28 frames per second. Yeah, I would say yeah. Pretty good. Let me turn off the motion blur. Wow, even the menus affecting everything. So if I turn off the motion blur, there, now it's like, okay, in sharp detail. Look at all these, oh wow, look at the ground and everything. Let's take a look at characters. Is there anyone in this room? I forgot. Sorry. Okay, this guy.
Runners should stick together.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like you drew them. Looks like you drew all of this. And it's pretty amazing, don't you think, that you can have all these different styles, and I mean, you can, anyone can go in here and do it, provided that you have an Nvidia graphics card that supports this feature. But it's a cool way to go back in and, you know, kind of test it. Wow, I like that. The detail on this wall looks like, you know, someone, you kind of sketched in some dirt. That's really cool. And even even those are like well defined. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. And it's pretty amazing, you know, that we have this tech. Oh shit, combat. Do combat. Pencil sketched combat. Yeah, it's like, the frame rate's like 30 frames. But it looks cool. What am I doing? Alright, well, I don't want to sit here and fight Krugersec all day. I'll go back to the main base, and then just check it out from there. This is pretty cool, though. I'm glad I was able to make a video on this, because, you know, this is something I saw no one else talking about. No one else was like, oh, this feature's out. It runs so bad. This is crazy. Just crazy to see the game like this. Nuts. Oh, you know what would be really interesting? Is if this art direction kind of supported cutscenes. I don't think so. Actually, no, it wouldn't, because the cutscenes are video, not in-game. Wow, if the cutscenes were in-engine, then effectively it would actually affect the cutscenes if they decided to do that, but they didn't decide to do that, so... Yeah, she is. You've been saying that ever since the game released, and I beat it. Don't say anything else. Okay, guys, well, yeah, this is going to do it for my video. I just kind of wanted to do a quick video, like a PSA almost, you know, just to let you guys know that this is out there. I haven't seen anyone talking about it, so I don't know if it's for every game. I doubt it is. I would think that developers would have to have support for their engine in order for it to do this, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's available like on every game. Maybe I can do this like Deus Ex, and you know, I just bought like Control. You know, maybe like Control will have this feature. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Again, if you have any pictures of styles that you messed around with, send them my way on Twitter. I'm actually really interested to see them. So have a good one, and I'll talk with you all later. Thanks.